12 teenagers and their coach spend 18 days trying to escape a flooded underground cave in Thailand. The film, based on true events, begins on June 23, 2018, in Thailand. A local youth soccer team has just finished practice and is getting ready to celebrate one of the boys' birthdays. As a warm-up before the cake, the boys head to the caves, all except one who has to help his father. 12 kids and their coach ride their bicycles through picturesque landscapes, past rice paddies with mountains rising on the horizon. Reaching the cave at the foot of the mountain, they haul their bikes to a clearing near the entrance and, not forgetting to say a prayer, rush inside with joyful shouts, unaware that storm clouds are gathering overhead. The first claps of thunder roll across the sky, and a tropical downpour begins. That evening, the team is expected at the birthday celebration in town, but they never arrive. When the parents learn that the children went into the cave, they follow them in the pouring rain. They find the bicycles, but not the children. To make matters worse, the cave entrance is now flooded. Alarmed, the parents notify the authorities. The provincial governor personally takes charge of the rescue operation. Rescue workers unload equipment, planning to send in divers. A foreign explorer brings a hand-drawn map of the cave system. While the governor holds a press conference, the first scuba divers enter the flooded caves. By morning, they return empty-handed. Progress is severely hindered by narrow passages and sharp turns. Some rescuers are injured by the strong current that slams them against the rocks. On June 24th, volunteers join the operation and pumps begin removing water. A government minister arrives at the scene. The governor briefs him on the situation. The minister is dissatisfied with the slow pace, but people are powerless against the forces of nature. Meanwhile, a hydraulic engineer consults a local resident to learn about holes in the mountain through which rainwater is pouring into the cave. Together, they head up the slopes. It is now June 27th. In England, Rick Stanton, a seasoned diver and the rightful king of Gondor, is informed about the incident. Thailand has requested assistance. When the British divers arrive, thousands of people from around the world are already working at the site. Stanton is joined by his colleague John Valanthan, who knows how to lie low, and not just in Bruges. After changing into their gear, the divers go to inspect the cave, looking somewhat skeptically at the local rescuers. The locals, in turn, are reluctant to let the foreigners in, but after a brief bout of bureaucracy, permission is granted. Stanton and John make their way deeper into the cave, where the water rises with every step. Soon, they must put on masks and fins and proceed underwater. After 4 hours, they reach a T-junction about 1.5 kilometers from the entrance. There, the divers encounter a small collapse. The water has eroded part of the wall. The increased flow creates a life-threatening situation for a volunteer repairing a pump. Stanton has to pull him out, borrowing his partner's mask. In a panic, the mechanic breaks free and shoots upward, striking his head. The diver drags him forward by force, the raging water turning red around them. After rescuing the volunteer, the British divers return, where the governor is waiting. They are asked not to dive without permission. It is now June 29th. A retired rescue veteran joins the team, followed by United States military personnel from a base in Okinawa. During a briefing, they estimate where the children might be and when they could be reached. The British divers offer their help. Unlike the local divers, they have specialized in cave diving for 30 years. The decision is left to the governor, who orders everyone to wait for the rain to subside. The hydraulic engineer builds aqueducts near sinkholes through which water floods the cave. The cost of diverting the water will be the destruction of crops at the foot of the mountain. The governor gathers the farmers to discuss the issue, and they agree to sacrifice their harvest for the sake of the children. Soon, powerful streams of water are redirected onto the fields straight from the mountain. On July 1st, the British divers watch television, wondering if the teenagers are still alive. When the rain finally stops, clergy members arrive at the camp and hold a service to encourage those present. The pumps continue removing water, but at least a full day is needed before further progress can be made. The governor wants to send the British divers forward, but does not approve it until July 2nd. In 4 hours, they once again reach the junction. After clearing debris, they continue forward, laying down guide rope. In the next air pocket, they call out to survivors, but no one responds. They need to keep going, but they run out of rope and are forced to turn back. However, just before turning around, the divers find the survivors. The boys and their coach are huddled on a small rocky ledge inside the cave. The British divers film them and, struggling with the language barrier, explain that rescuers are nearby. They will be brought out soon, but they must hold on a little longer. Securing the rope and leaving batteries behind, the divers return. It is determined that the team is in the 9th chamber of the cave, about 2.5 kilometers from the entrance. It took more than 6 hours to reach them. The British divers hand over the footage to their Thai colleagues, who rejoice at the news and rush to inform the governor, the parents, and the volunteers. Stanton and John are greeted with applause and reporters. That evening, as relieved parents watch the video, journalists crowd the exhausted rescuers. However, Stanton remains pessimistic. Finding the survivors is only half the battle. Getting them out will be an even greater challenge. He believes that unless the strategy changes, they will be forced to watch the children die in the cave. The boys will not be able to swim more than 2 kilometers underwater. They will panic like the mechanic did, and pumping out the water will not solve the problem. Monsoon season is beginning, and until it ends, the cave will continue to flood. On July 3rd, the British divers share their knowledge of the route with the Thai team. That is all they can do for now. The local divers set out. In the narrow passages, they nearly get stuck, but after 7 hours, they reach the boys. Rescuers deliver food, batteries, and thermal blankets. A doctor who has arrived examines the children. After measuring the oxygen levels, rescuers realize the survivors cannot remain there much longer. Moreover, they cannot simply return. There is only enough oxygen for one person. After sending a messenger back to camp, the remaining rescuers stay with the children. On July 4th, the governor informs the parents and volunteers that a rescue plan is being developed. Not all the parents are satisfied with that answer. One mother demands immediate action. The British divers witness the scene. John believes they must come up with something, while Stanton considers a mad plan. He wants to call Dr. Harris. John thinks the idea is brilliant or insane. It depends on how you look at it. But to carry out this mysterious plan, they will need more experienced divers. On July 6th, a newly assembled team of foreign professionals heads into the cave to deliver a week's worth of food. Stanton asks his more experienced colleagues to keep an eye on a young diver named Chris. He is very young for such a specialist. In addition to supplies, they bring letters from the parents and paper for replies. Soon, Dr. Harris arrives at the camp, having grown tired of raising future Jedi in the sands of Tatooine. He is shown the cave entrance and told why he was truly summoned. Though he has less diving experience, he is an anesthesiologist. However, Harris immediately rejects the idea, which is not yet revealed to the audience. According to him, it is illegal, unethical, and will not work. On July 7th, oxygen levels in the cave are running low. The Thai rescuers deliver wetsuits to the boys. However, in a stalactite-lined tunnel about 1 kilometer from the entrance, a diver's tank becomes entangled in the guide rope. He must remove his gear to free himself, causing oxygen to leak. Realizing he will not have enough air, the diver decides to turn back. He does not make it and dies of suffocation. On July 8th, the operation enters its final stage. All television crews are sent away from the camp to prevent unnecessary panic. One mother gives the team good luck amulets. The doctor instructs the divers that the children will need to be injected with anesthetic along the way and demonstrates how to do it. Soon, the foreign divers descend into the flooded cave, dragging essential equipment behind them. In the fifth chamber, halfway along the route, Thai rescuers have placed spare oxygen tanks for the children. 2 divers remain there to wait for the others. Stanton continues farther along the route. His task is to wait for the first rescued boy and see whether the plan works. If successful, the divers will transport the others. John and Dr. Harris reach the soccer team and the rescuers who stayed behind. They deliver packages from the parents and prepare for the first extraction. The situation is complicated by the fact that not all the masks fit properly. They do not seal tightly against the boys' faces. The first boy is dressed in a wetsuit, after which the doctor injects him with anesthetic, distracting him by talking about the World Cup. After securing the unconscious body with straps, the divers send the child on a difficult journey through the flooded stone tunnels. Once Stanton sees that the first colleague has successfully transported the boy, he dives in and hurries to inform the others that the operation will continue. Meanwhile, the second boy has already been suited up, and the doctor administers the injection without waiting for confirmation. John orders them to proceed despite the risk. By the time Stanton emerges from the water, John is ready to transport the second child. During the journey, the first boy regains consciousness. The diver attempts to inject him again, but drops the syringes. After retrieving them from the bottom, he successfully administers the medication, and the child's eyes roll back. Meanwhile, the third boy is being prepared. In the fifth chamber, halfway along the route, divers administer additional anesthetic. John notices that his cargo is not breathing underwater. The rescuers remove the mask. The boy appears to be fine. After allowing him to catch his breath, John submerges him again. And this time, bubbles rise as they should. After 5.5 hours, in the third chamber, local rescuers receive the first rescued boy. From there, he is carried on foot. 2 hours later, he reaches the first chamber near the exit to thunderous applause from volunteers and rescuers. Shielded by umbrellas from curious eyes, the boy is placed into an ambulance, then transferred to a helicopter and flown to the hospital. Soon, John delivers the second child, who is transported the same way. The third is brought out after dark. Stanton brings out the fourth on this run. Dr. Harris reports that all 4 are stable, which brings relief. On July 9th, while meteorologists warn of new downpours, the divers begin another shift to rescue 5 more children. In anticipation of rain, workers building aqueducts fashion pipes from bamboo groves. Monsoon season is approaching, threatening torrential rains and the deaths of those still trapped. That evening, divers receive a mask for the smallest boy. Rain begins again. In the chamber where the survivors wait, water drips from the ceiling. On July 10th, realizing that the water level has risen overnight, the divers head in for the final group with heavy hearts. Navigating the caves against the current is extremely difficult. Stanton warns that if there is no confidence in survival, he will not proceed. Yet inside, he resolves to continue the mission. At the site, they discover that even the smallest mask does not fit the boys snugly. They must tighten the straps as much as possible and hold the mask in place to prevent leaks. This will slow them down, but there is no alternative. The coach is the last to be led out of the natural trap. Before losing consciousness, he asks whether his boys are safe. The Thai rescuers who stayed with the team for several days follow behind. At one point, the current sweeps Chris away from the guide rope. The water makes transport difficult, trying to push the body away and wedge it into crevices between the rocks. In the fourth chamber, Rick finds Chris, who has lost the route and reached the area by following a power cable. He tells him to wait for the doctor, who is swimming behind. Harris administers another injection and takes over the burden from the young but exhausted diver. At the exit, the divers wait for Chris, worried whether his experience is sufficient for such a complex situation. However, he surfaces and immediately asks about the boy. Finally, the Thai rescuers are expected to emerge from the water. Their lives matter as well. The situation worsens when a pump breaks. Yet, along with the rushing water, the cave releases its last captives. News of the successful completion of the mission sparks celebration in the camp among volunteers and everyone involved. As the divers exit, they are bowed to, applauded, thanked, and saluted. Once they reach their room, they cannot hold back their laughter, all except Chris, who cries, remembering the moment he lost the guide rope and thought he might have to abandon the child to save himself. The governor delivers a speech to journalists, thanking the rescuers and volunteers for their help. The parents thank the foreigners for what they have done. Stanton thanks Dr. Harris, but Harris does not respond. While he was here, his father passed away in the hospital. The film is dedicated to the Thai diver who drowned and later died from a blood infection. The closing titles reveal that just a few days later, the cave was completely flooded for 8 months. Volunteers pumped 254 million liters of water out of the cave system. During the rescue operation, more than 5,000 people from 17 countries took part.